financial, academic, and accommodation, and any nature and form of students whose ability to perform has been hampered by the failures of NSFAS to pay timelessly. Sasco is calling for the immediate funding of all students affected by the university TVET application mismatch. We have instructed all SRC to create a database of students that are victims of this evil and heartless exclusion. On accreditation of institutional-owned residences and accommodation by NSFAS, the Office of the Minister deliberately misled the country by releasing a statement that the student who passed at Walter Sisulu University in April was not a student. The release of such serious information was done without a proper verification of facts. As things stand, no one has been held responsible for such reckless conduct. It should be understood that the students of Walter Sisulu, like any other students in many of our institutions, stood for their right to conducive environment on campus and proper accommodation that is provided by institutions of higher learning. Furthermore, activities at WUSU have continued like life of innocent student was snuffed out due to cocktail of incompetence and failures. The officials that publicly lied about the studentship of Sisonke continue to earn their salaries. The residence department at WUSU has done little so far to address the disgusting state of their residences, which are not fit to house even prisoners. In essence, the death of Sisonke was in vain. Sasco will not stand by, allow this miscarriage of justice and lack of accountability to continue unabated. We are calling for the achievement of the justice for Sisonke. On the amendments of the Higher Education Act, simply to highlight the level of incompetence of Minister Nobuhle Nkabane, following the minister's oversight visit to University of KwaZulu-Natal, DHET released information that the minister has instructed the University of KwaZulu-Natal to extend registration. The false information being shared as an instruction made many students to think that they had more time to fix their registration issues. The use of the word instructed and her conduct during the oversight visit implies that the minister is not clued up on the Higher Education Act, which gives universities institutional autonomy to set their own academic calendars. Sasco continues to call for the amendment of the Higher Education Act to increase the voice of government in regulating universities. However, a competent minister would have been clued up on her powers and limitation is guided by the Act, which regulates her department. The Higher Education Act, as was last amended in 2016, essentially for about 10 years, there has been no deliberate review of the Higher Education Act. While there's no statutory rule mandating a review frequency, for instance, 5-year frequency, legislative review is a policy and administrative obligation tied to the principles of democratic accountability, transparency, and constitutional governance. The higher education terrain has changed drastically over the past decade, whilst the Act remains trapped in the past, hindering future progress. The autonomy granted to institutions that was meant to protect academic freedom has been weaponized by university managers to stifle transformation and decolonization, whilst hampering the efforts of government to widen access to higher education. Instead of this being the priority of government and the portfolio committee, they are instead obsessed with theatrics and unnecessary drama that has degenerated the decorum of parliament. The members who serve at the exponential cost to taxpayers only to focus in spewing and punchlines that will garner the views, likes, and retweets on social media, instead of really focusing and advocating on legislative issues to protect the students of South Africa, such as the disrespectful eating by the minister expected to be responding on the portfolio committee on higher education. We're calling for the writing off of the student debt now. The student debt in South Africa is a crisis. Each semester, thousands of students are financially excluded, preventing them from completing their academic pursuits, leading them to life of unemployment, depression, alcoholism, and drug abuse. The media, as it has reported on the figures of the student debt, in many cases with this debt, which has not yet been prescribed, Sasco calls for the scrapping of the student debt in its totality and for the process to be undertaken that allows students whose qualifications are incomplete due to financial exclusion to be allowed to register and graduate, and that those who have graduated to receive their qualifications so that they can look for employment. We are calling on the extension of NSFAS applications and create a deliberate action to increase the reach in rural and township areas. Like a broken record, NSFAS continues to play the same with the expectation of different outcome, consistently compromising poor and working class students. As a close of 2026 university applications approach, the opening of NSFAS applications are nowhere near ready. Each year, NSFAS opened applications for a short period of time, which does not take into consideration the special and socio-economic dynamics of the country. Prospective students from rural and township areas usually struggle to collect all their documentation needed by NSFAS by its closing date. This phenomenon that has happened time and again over the past decade, always forcing NSFAS to reopen applications in January, leading to delays in disbursements of funds. Sasco therefore calls for the opening of NSFAS applications from the 1st of August 2025 until the 48 hours after the announcement of the matric results. We furthermore call for the immediate deliberate development of an outreach program into townships and rural areas that will tangibly assist students to apply for NSFAS by providing scanning facilities and easy access to commissioners of oath. This outreach program must seek to alleviate the delay of applications and ensure that prospective students are practically assisted to apply. NSFAS, with its